Hey everyone, welcome to the Film Threat Livecast here on a Friday. I'm a little pre-coffee, but trust me, I will catch up. This is going to be a big show today. So many films to review and the first two episodes of Marvel's Secret Invasion. Alan and I have both seen it, and we have a lot to discuss about that. So today on the docket, The Blackening is in theaters. Elemental is in theaters. Asteroid City is also in theaters. And a little movie, long delayed, but finally here, The Flash. We're going to talk about all of it today on the show. Your chat comments and questions. Very happy to have you here. Alaning will be joining me very shortly. I'm excited you're here. Oh my God, I need a second cup of coffee today. It is one of those days. So let's get things started. Let's pop it off. It's the Film Threat Livecast. Let's go.
Happy Pride, everybody! Woohoo!
Alan, did you expose your breasts at an event recently?
Yeah.
I have concerns.
Look, it's Pride Month. You got to go to the Capitol. You got to take your shirt off. That's what we do.
I don't think you're ever going to get invited to the White House again, just based on the video that recently resurfaced just now that I just played.
Well, yes, they've banned people, but I'll be back. Believe me, I'll be back.
Good. All right. Well, happy to be here with you today. I have seen most of the movies that we're going to talk about.
I've seen all the movies we've talked about.
Okay. I have not seen two of the films, but that's why I'm really happy you're here. Yeah. And we're going to be talking about The Flash, or as I like to say, the best new Batman movie in a while. This is a reproduction of Detective Comics. Of course, what issue number is it? Everyone in the chat knows. It's issue number 27. Amazing Fantasy, first appearance of Spider-Man. What's the issue number?
18.
15.
Get it right. By the way, I want to thank all our viewers for allowing me to bow out of Indy 5.
Stop bragging about that.
You guys are the best, and I will stay true to the wishes of the chat.
I am gonna have to. We'll have to come up with some way. Maybe I can bribe you with something.
Well,
can I bribe you with something, or should we listen to the chat?
And what was the other? Oh, the Blackening. I like the Blackening.
Well, let's talk about it. First, I want to see who's in the chat, and then we're going to go. We have a lot of movies to review, so we're going to get through them real quick because I really want to talk about Secret Invasion. I literally, part of the reason we were a few minutes late today, I was just finishing up the last episode, and I was typing in lines. Because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Well, I'm going to read these lines. It's going to be a little crazy. All right. Lori Ormond says, ready for some crunchy Bush energy. All right. If you did not see our,
oh my God,
our Indy 5, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny review, you don't understand what that means, but now it's haunting me. Because
you are a perv. You saw something that no one else in the world saw
I am heard. Okay. I am not a perv. I am an observant person. And I was seeing everything else that everyone else saw, but, did not want to say out loud. I saw that and I spoke it out loud. So there you go. Hail Film. Thank you, Lori. I am Luke's father says, hail Film Threat. Hail chat from Maine. Imperfect says, Alan's off his meds. Yeah, that was crazy what you did at the White House. John Thomas says, hail, Chris. I sent you a tweet that had a guy's channel. He's an amateur filmmaker and he's a real talent. Send him to Film Threat. If you go to filmthreat.com, you go to filmthreat.com/submit. you can actually send us your movie for review. It's very easy. Where is that? It's real simple. We have a thing that usually has that link.
Yeah.
But go to filmthreat.com/submit. No, don't contact us. It's the different one. There you go. Get your movie reviewed. Go to filmthreat.com/submit. Is it submit-project? Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it? I want to check now. I want to double check.
No, I'm pretty sure it is because that's the name of the page. It's how WordPress does things.
Okay, yes, submit project. Yeah. So go to that and you can get your movie reviewed. Doesn't matter. You just submit it, and we would love if you would do that. That must be in a different, I don't have access to that. So, and also, all that shop. Yeah, we don't, I should probably say this stuff more often, but what can I say? All right. We love you, Alan. You owe us, says Imperfect. Mid-mall snacking, Ms. P Coffee. Petition to crack that bush, the official channel slang for smash the like button. Crack that bush. All right, we'll see if it sticks. Really is up to the chat. Hail, Chris, I sent you a tweet. Okay, yeah. So that, so just go to that page and he can send us his movie. Mike MC Wong, your preference is ice cream bar over popcorn machine, correct? Just ascertaining before procurement. Mike, why not both? Why make us choose? Also, we should put it to a vote. Don't put it all on me, Mike. Mike MC, we're making 4th of July weekend plans. Thank you, Mike. Always love hanging out with you. Imperfect says, it's Film Threat starring Cap'n Crunch Gore and Alan Stackencrack. Let's go. Jens Anderson of the Tari says, hello, it's time. And Mike MC Wong, hello, everyone. Good morning and salutations. Chris is making coffee. Alan is restarting his modem, says Imperfect. John Manalang, always love that you're here. Happy Friday, FT crew. Let's get it. And Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and join us as a member. That's right. We've got some really cool member stuff that's coming up soon.
Yes, and we are live on Rumble.
Oh, that's great. Hello to everyone on Rumble. We're kind of building there, which is fun. And Deleted Scenes has just become a YouTube member. And let's see. Juxtapose, was it Raiders Indy that Chris heard some rustling in the bushes? First of all, I am not this is not an original thought, and I'm not the first person to point this out. That scene with Marion standing on the deck of the submarine, there is a very strong wind. She's wearing a negligee and no underwear. If you have eyeballs that can see, you see what I have seen. You just don't want to acknowledge it. So there you go. Should I watch The Flash, says John Harrison. Stay tuned. We'll let you know. MK Solid 82. I always thought Karen Allen had amazing blue eyes, but Chris has brought things to a new level.
Yeah. Chris never saw her eyes. Let's say that.
I saw The Boogeyman last weekend, and it was great. Told you. Thanks for highlighting it and bringing on the director. We have another director joining us a week from today. Catherine Hardwick is going to be joining us. She has a new film that's coming out. I have met her at film festivals. She does this kind of class, this sort of like, I'm going to tell you everything I know about directing and in a PowerPoint presentation. And she gives you sort of these broad strokes, like her approach. It was an amazing, I saw her presentation. It's amazing. She directed the first Twilight film. So, which is in my opinion, probably the only watchable version. So there you go.
She also directed Mafia Mama.
She also did that. She was a director for hire. Yeah. So there you go. Jens Anderson of the Tari. I finally watched RRR, Chris. Well, you're way ahead of Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic, who still hasn't watched it. Alan, I finally watched Nefarious. Wow, says the nerd far away. And One Punch Man Tolkien fan. Alan is a lot more animated this morning. What's in his tea? Alan, what's in your tea?
Oh, it's mint. When my mom passed away, she left a giant garden of container garden in her front porch. And so I took it all to my house. And for some reason, she was growing a lot of mint. And I have a lot of mint to go through. So we're doing tea.
Doing tea.
Yeah.
And a quick, we're gonna jump right into reviews after this super chat here, and we'll get to some of your questions that we did not have the time to respond to. Sorry for the off topic, but the French Connection has been censored on all major streaming services. This news is kind of flying out of the radar, says Micah F for $4.99. That is incredibly distressing. It's why I will not give up my physical media library. Filmmakers, the Directors Guild should make a statement on this. This is very serious. This is I'm pissed. I am so pissed off about this. It's really distressing. We cannot reform or recut or change media from the past based on how we feel about things in the present. Those things need to exist for a reason. So what are we going to do? Because if you start applying that, we're going to start cutting movies from 10 years ago, not just from the early 70s.
We're going to start burning movies. I mean, Gone with the Wind is going to get burned down to the ground.
Well, Gone with the Wind already has a warning at the beginning of it to put
Dumbo.
it in context.
Everything Walt Disney touched is going to get burned to the ground.
Here's why this really pisses me off. Here's why this pisses me off, is because let me just think. Okay, a freaking IKEA chair. The recutting of movies based on the fact that what is this shop.filmthreat.com? Who put that up?
Yeah, hold on.
Alan.
Okay, here we go. Got it.
Alan!
Glenn can fix it in post. Go.
A freaking IKEA chair. Recently, the French Connection was cut and edited on all streaming services. Stop editing movies because of how we feel about things in the present. To destroy a piece of film history, a classic, such as The French Connection from the early 70s, which is a very, for its time, brutal, raw crime thriller that you should see. It's horrifying to me that we're allowing morons to dictate what we can and can't see. What it does is it assumes that you are not intelligent enough to process what you're seeing. We are bowing to morons and idiots. Adding a warning at the beginning of movies, having these land acknowledgments. It diminishes the conversation we should be having about film. If you are looking at this film and are somehow affected by what you're seeing, it's a great opportunity for a conversation. But none of that should involve censoring films from the past. The Directors Guild of America, the Writers Guild of America, if they don't jump on this and they don't fully come out as anti-censorship, we are going to be destroying films from the past. Hold on to your physical media, folks. Hold on to it. Because I predict it's only going to get worse as we bow to idiots. A freaking IKEA chair. All right, let's I'm really pissed about it.
Yeah.
I could do like a whole, and we could bring up examples. Thank you for the super chat that prompted my ire. But
what is it? Those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I mean, that's essentially what's going on here. They're removing our history, and we're seeing the evil and the bad of the past resurface, and we're embracing it for some reason.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. We have a lot of films to review, and thank you for hanging out with us. Let's actually start, Alan. I'm going to put you front and center. I have not seen this movie. I'm not sure how much interest I have in seeing this film. So I need you, Alan. Tell us about Elemental, the newest movie from Disney Pixar.
Yes. Let me just say I gave this one a mild recommendation, but it's not for everybody. Basically, Elemental City, it's a city in which all the elements, wind, earth, water, came together, formed a coexisting relationship, a community, and now they have let the fire people in. And the problem with the fire people is they burn people. You can die because of them if you touch them. They cause havoc and destruction because they're fire people. That's the thing about fire. So they're relegated to kind of Fire Town. The story focuses on a girl named Ember who helps her run her father's business. An inspector comes along, Wade, sees that the building's not up to code, threatens to shut them down. She chases after him, and the movie, for all intent and purpose, is a love story between Wade and Ember, and that's essentially what this movie is. I would liken it to West Side Story, but without the violence and the effeminate dancing. And so a tepid recommendation. Why? Because it's actually a halfway decent love story. Let me ask you this question: when was the last time Disney put out anything? Put out a story that was just a boy falling in love with a girl. There's even kissing in this movie. This is, to me, maybe the reason to watch this movie is because it's just a love story between a boy and a girl from different cultures. The other aspect of it is the fire people. They're immigrants, and this is an immigrant story of. And I'll be honest, very reminiscent of my grandparents when they came here. The idea that they left their homeland, came to America to start a new life, to take advantage of the American dream, and that's what the story is. So let's get the chatter out of the way, the racist, the woke chatter out of the way. If this movie came out 10 years ago, 20 years ago, no one would be saying this is a woke movie. It's as woke as West Side Story. But it's a love story. And I'll be honest, there's not a great appeal for love. I can't imagine children wanting to see this story because it's about a boy falling in love with a girl and a girl falling in love with a boy. I don't think children are exactly the target audience for this. And, for grown adults like me, I don't know that it's our story either. I mean, I appreciate it for what it was. It's a love story. And so I would not call this a woke movie at all. It's not, there's no messages about white people. It's just immigrants, trying to fit into a new culture. But at the same time, I'll say this about the animation. Animation looks great, but there's some magic missing in it. The whole opening scene where it talks about Element City, and we're kind of take this tour of Element City, and there's these little gags. The gags are just very lame dad jokes. And we've talked about it before, but I think the magic left Pixar when John Lasseter left. And what should have been a magical opening for this movie, it was just not there. And so I just really felt, underwhelmed by the introduction of City. And if it wasn't for the love story and an okay told love story, okay, it's okay. It's,
what do you rate it? What do you out of 10?
I gave it 6.5. I gave it 6.5.
Whoa! So if Alan gave it a 6.5, that means I would give it a 4.
Probably. My daughter hated it.
Wait a sec. Is your daughter available to review movies here on our channel?
The issue is willing and able. She's able, but is she willing?
Yeah. Well, look,
my other daughter maybe, but
yeah. Where is your other daughter here? She's I don't know. She came to court the other day.
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
Maybe your other daughter. That's crazy. But yeah, nothing about the and first of all, I used to love Pixar movies.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm skeptical because I feel like the cat's out of the bag, which is every Pixar movie, toys have feelings. Cars have feelings. The monsters that bump in the night have feelings. Everything is about like anthropomorphizing something.
Yeah, well, look at Zootopia, look at Soul. It's it's just this running theme that they have
Well,
going
Zootopia.
on.
I don't think Zootopia is Pixar.
It's
I
not.
think
It's
that's
Disney, but
It's Disney.
That's their original contact. There's again, there's no villain in this one. If there's anyone who you would consider, the old school, I'm not going to say the word racist, even though I just did, but it's the father who doesn't want her daughter dating a water guy.
So it's when you say West Side Story, like the original directed by Robert Wise from the 60s is great.
Yeah.
That is a classic to me. That opening scene, there's an overture. Like I have that on Blu-ray. I also have the digital copy. I love the original West Side Story, which is a Romeo and Juliet story. So this is in a way kind of like, it's so funny because as these things sort of echo, they get further from the original source material, which was a Shakespeare play, right? Like, so it's that, and then it's West Side Story, and then to this. So,
yeah, and I think it was Stephen Sondheim's first big musical too. So,
right,
yeah, which you don't know. You don't know who Sondheim is.
I know who Sondheim is. It's just I look at everything about this movie, and I had an opportunity to see it, and I just didn't care.
Yeah, Disney Plus. The Pixar used to release all the Pixar stuff on Disney Plus. This is probably the one that you could legitimately just wait for Disney Plus on.
So you're saying like this is like a 6.5?
Yeah, or 6.9.
6 point. Does that make you sad? All right.
Yes. And Sondheim did do Sweeney Todd.
I'll just say this: based on your review, I don't want to see this. I don't. Now I feel like I don't have to see this.
I mean, it's a love story. If you like love stories, go on and see this one.
All right. Let's go to some quick comments here, and we'll move on to another review. Want Biscuit says this movie strikes me much like Inside Out. You're actually selling me a little on the movie, says Lubitsch touched me. It's okay to laugh, says, I guess the title is ironic by getting back to the basic elements of storytelling. Haha, there you go. Mike MC Wong says the movie really isn't as bad as most reviewers claim to be. Eric is totally off. Why does Eric come up on our show so much?
I know.
It's because he sort of like shyly just like turned up back at our movie meetup group, but Eric, every week I'm going to quit. I'm done. And he says this every time. The animation of the characters do look bad and the water people are annoying.
Yeah. I will say Catherine O'Hara is in the movie. Love Catherine O'Hara.
I love Catherine O'Hara. The twist at the end of Elemental, Earth, Wind, Water, and Fire are joined by Heart to form Captain Planet, who's been lost in ice for 100 years, says Geek Truth 64. Want Biscuits? Great point, Alan. Mike MC Wong, yes. And I like the immigrant angle. I am an immigrant, so I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is, the criticisms of this movie are just not founded, which is you'd expect it from Disney these days. And somehow it didn't get loaded in here. It's your typical immigrant story from the past.
Trad Viz says, Alan is a romantic. And Kevin Rubio, a defense attorney, and Kevin, open invitation to return to the show. We've got some great guests coming up. We'd love to have you on. Kevin says, I thought it was delightful, but may not be for everyone. So there you are. All right. A couple more super chats came in. We'll get to those before we MK Solid 82 for $4.99 says George Lucas wasn't looking happy or healthy at the Indy 5 premiere next to Harrison Ford. Maybe Alan can bring up the photo. I saw the photo. I saw the photo and I saw video. He looked fine. He's old. He's old. I don't think we need to bring it up, MK Solid. But he looked fine. From Rumble, Lord Shack says, "Good morning, Chris. Hope you got that WB Studios lot message I sent this morning." Wait, what? How did you sent it? Where did you send it? You can DM me at that Chris Gore on Twitter. I'm not sure I got the message, but that might be a better way to reach me. And then Toxic Avenger 3 from Rumble says, "I might consider watching it after Alan's review." Well, I mean, if you've got AMC's A-list, you can see 3 movies a week. I mean, why wouldn't you just go?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Shuxy says, "Just order The French Connection on Blu-ray." I mean, if anything, this will boost physical media sales, but it kind of sucks. It sucks that we're stuck in the age of dumb.
Well, the thing is, the whole reason we went to VOD and these streaming services and cable is that we didn't have to have censorship on all our movies anymore. You know, because on television, everything was censored.
Matthew, I'm going to address this when we talk about The Flash, so I will get to your super chat. I promise you, Mr. Hammond. The Geek and I podcast, Chris, Attack of the Doc was great. I was too upset about losing Tech TV, so I want a G4 fan, not a wish I watched. Great job. It's great job. Thank you. And Retro Doc says, "Saw Flash yesterday." Wait, we're going to get to Flash questions later. Let's talk about a movie you and I both seen. We're going to pivot. And we're going to talk about The Blackening. We're just going to talk about it. So let's go. Alan, tell us the story of The Blackening.
Okay, the Blackening is basically a group of college friends who go to a cabin in the woods. In that cabin, it's kind of an Airbnb. In that cabin, there's a secret room. And in that secret room is a game called The Blackening. And then a voice comes out of the main spinner there, and it's one of these death games, and that the group has to answer trivia questions of Black culture and Black history, or they die. One of them dies. They die one by one, and it culminates in the final question of who in the group is the blackest. And whoever they decide is the blackest is going to go out of the room and die. They're going to get killed. And so the big centerpiece of this is them discussing of the I think it was 6 people who is the blackest. And then it becomes basically a serial killer horror comedy at that point. I mean, it's a comedy throughout the whole thing, but now it becomes who's trying to kill them. What is this game and why? What is going on? Personally, I liked it in terms of it's not like a Airplane or Not Another Movie kind of comedy, but it's got funny elements to it. I think you might think it's woke. I don't think it is. I think, again, like Elemental, if you watched this 20 years ago, you know, it would be just a film, a comedy made by black people, starring Black people, and discussing the issues of the time within the Black community. And I think that's what this does. And the biggest reason why I say this isn't woke is basically the portrayal of the white cop in the movie, because they could have certainly done it a whole lot differently than they did. And so I think, if you got nothing to do and you want to go to the movie, I would definitely say see The Blackening.
I would give it a very, very mild recommendation. I think this is a movie that would have been perfect for streaming. It's getting a decent theatrical release. It's directed by Tim Story, who did the Fantastic Four films, the ones with Ewan Gufford, who played Mr. Fantastic. It's okay. Fortunately, I saw it with Dante. He had to explain a couple things to me. Where, he was laughing at times where I'm like, oh, wait, I don't get that joke. It really is definitely although I love the questions, they're answering all these trivia questions. And one of the questions was, name 5 Black actors who appeared on Friends. And then they all admitted that they used to watch Friends. So
the joke was, I never watched the show, but I do remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I never watched it, and then they know everything about it. So, and also, I don't think it's woke. In fact, if anything, it actually makes fun of woke stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
in a way, it sort of mocks woke culture, but it very is culturally speaking, it's very much made for a Black audience, which I actually think is a good thing. It's I'll just say this: I probably got half the jokes, but didn't get all of them for sure. So it's very inside Black culture. And it's very much, it's more of a comedy than a horror. And I don't know. I say a mild recommendation, but probably a movie best seen on streaming or with an entirely Black audience, which is fortunately I did get to see it with a mostly audience
I did
of
too. I did
Black,
too.
and they seem to love it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Look, there were laugh out loud moments.
Yeah, there
like I
are.
said,
Oh my God.
It's not one of these not another movies, so it's not just these jokes riddled throughout it and psychic.
Right.
It's the comedy is in the dialogue, the comedy is in the interactions. Also, by the way, we've been rated. I wonder if the 199 is a hint of who is rating us.
199. Oh, I know that. That's the Geeks and Gamers. All right. Hey, Abe, thank you so much. We're going to get to the Flash in a minute. We're talking about the Blackening. Perfect time for the 199 to arrive. But look, this is a movie probably best. It's like either see it with an audience of all Black people, because you're gonna like, and you're gonna have to maybe figure out some of the jokes, or just it's a streaming thing to me. Yeah. So a mild recommendation.
You say you should see it on streaming, but part of me is like I want people to go back to the theaters. And I want low budget movies like this to be seen at movie theaters.
Right.
This is just not. This is not the time to stay at home. Let's get out there. Let's buy some popcorn. Let's watch a movie.
All right. Well, let's pivot because the 199 is here. We're going to talk about Secret Invasion, because Alan and I have seen the first 2 episodes of Marvel's Secret Invasion. So I think it's time for us to talk Secret Invasion. Wait, where is that? All right, here we go. Secret Invasion. We're going to do it right now. We're going to do it. Alan, are you ready for Secret Invasion?
No, but we'll do it.
All right, here we go. Let's talk about Marvel's Secret Invasion, which premieres next week. Alan and I have seen the first 2 episodes.
Film Threat is inevitable.
Secret Invasion is here. Nick Fury is back. He's left Saber. He's earthbound on an adventure because there are terrorists in the form of Skrulls that have infiltrated our world. They're currently in Russia, which is where Fury goes to track them down. There are good Skrulls and there are bad Skrulls. This is made clear in the first episode. And there are people who would rather see Nick Fury sit this one out. Emilia Clarke plays a woman of mystery, is all I'll say. We're not going to get into too many spoilers with this, but I want to know, Alan, your initial thoughts. This is why the stream was late today. I was just finishing up the second episode, and I will get to it. I had to type in some of the lines from this show because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I'll just say this too. The track record of the Marvel Disney Plus shows has been awful. I think there have been some highlights or episodes. I don't think there's a single Disney Plus Marvel series where you could say, that was awesome. That was great. Not a single one. WandaVision, I felt started off pretty interesting. It was very different than things we've seen in the past. And then it did not stick the landing. Loki was all over the map. I'll just say this, like, other than like Loki and like WandaVision, I haven't finished an entire Disney Plus Marvel show. I consider those shows, it's sort of like this, like when it comes to Star Wars and when it comes to Marvel, I care about what happens in the movies. Those things to me are canon. Anything else sort of around it is noise. And all the Disney Plus series, to me, Marvel shows, they seem like the things that happen in between the movies that are inconsequential events that don't matter. You don't need to know what happens in these TV shows because none of the consequences of the events in these shows make any difference whatsoever at all. And there's like in the comic book world, they'll do like a prequel comic sort of leading you up to a movie, and nothing in those comics ever makes any sense. And I have a bunch of those comics, by the way. But this wants to be a very intelligent, smart, taut, gritty thriller in the vein of some, Bourne Identity or Bourne, Bourne, one of the Bourne films, right? The Bourne movies they all have those different names. It's the Bourne whatever. It kind of aspires to be that. It's so cheaply made. To me, it looked very cheap. They've got really good actors like Olivia Colman, Don Cheadle. I mean, they've got really good actors in this. There is one spoiler I am going to give up, but I'm sure nobody cares. Here's the problem with this show. The worst dialogue, and this is saying something, the worst dialogue written for a Disney Plus show ever. Horrible. To the point where I had to write some of these lines down, and I'm going to read some to you. Before I get to that, Alan, I want to get your overall impressions. I freaking hated it. I don't know that I care to watch it. And pay attention. No one will be talking about this show. It's not going to trend. You're not going to see people do videos about it. We're talking about it today because Alan and I had the opportunity to see the first 2 episodes early. I don't expect anyone is going to get caught up in Secret Invasion. It's a colossal disappointment. Another thing that I found very odd.
Oh, you're going to ask me about what I thought?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Alan. I'm sorry. Well, you did the first 2 reviews. I feel like I need to make up for that. Okay, Alan, what are your thoughts on Secret Invasion?
Oh my God, it's so boring. You know what? Okay, look, we'll talk about Flash. I like Flash, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I didn't read Flash. I don't know anything about Flashpoint or Infinite Earth and all that junk. So I just kind of went in. This one, I am very familiar with Secret Invasion. I liked the Marvel Comics Secret Invasion. This is just basically taking the title and the idea and watering it down. Because the Skrulls, basically, they're taking over people. They're infiltrating governments, and no one knows about it. It's almost as if, let's just throw out Marxists. They came in and they infiltrated governments and started taking down all these governments. That would never happen. But that's kind of this idea. And I think the problem here is I don't care. The fact that these people, the infiltrators are Skrulls. So what? Okay, they can shapeshift, they can become other people. But that's, it's just a watered down story. We hung out with Robert Meyer Burnett at WonderCon, and he told us basically that he had read all the scripts to Secret Invasion and said that it's very good. And my thought was, well, you read the scripts, but what's going to be the final result? And
correction. Okay, just quick. He said he read the original scripts. They were heavily rewritten. The original scripts were heavily rewritten for Secret Invasion.
But he said that he liked the original script.
Right. I'm getting a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. But I'm listening to everything. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So he liked the original script. That it is watered down. The action, the dialogue, the narrative, it is just watered down. There's no excitement to it. Any action scenes you get is your standard typical action scenes of people across the room shooting at each other. There's nothing really there's nothing really big about this. And the first 2 episodes is about where's Nick Fury been, why is he so sad, Why is, and it's just this show. I don't know. It's like someone giving you, swine. It's pearls before swines. You're given this great material, and you just water it down. You just make it boring, and so that's my feeling here. So I haven't pre-read this, but Catherine Jin says there will be exactly one character from Secret Invasion worth watching. Whichever Shooter McGavin, that replica knockoff that Chris McDonald is yet going to play. Okay, yeah, he's in it. He's okay. I believe he's the president.
What are you going to the chat without me? All right,
yeah, just one comment.
We're not done talking about this.
Look, Secret Invasion was about Skrulls taking over as the Marvel superheroes. I can't off the top of my head tell you exactly which ones. I think Sue Storm was one of those. But this one is just people, and it's like, who cares? Yeah, okay.
Well, Don Cheadle is in it,
Yeah.
War Machine. It's this. Okay, here's the thing where they lost me. Here's where they lost me. We've seen. Wait, what shirt are you wearing right now, Alan? Is that your daughter's shirt?
No, it's the.
That is your daughter made that shirt.
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
But so here's the thing. I obviously I've seen all the Marvel movies. I can't remember a moment in any of the Marvel films where they made it about race. Can you think of a moment, Alan, in any of the Marvel movies? Just the movies, okay?
Yeah.
Not the Captain America Winter Soldier thing.
The movies, yeah.
Okay, only the movies. Was there a moment that even acknowledged race as a thing? Or as a problem?
Black Panther, but that was kind of the thing.
But Black Panther, that's different. I think that's okay. There are so many moments in just the first 2 episodes where they make it about race. I can't remember at any point where Nick Fury brought up race as an. I typed these into my phone because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. There's a moment with Maria Hill. They're in a bar. Nick Fury and Maria Hill are in a bar. They're having. Is it Maria Hill? Is that the name of her character?
Yes, Maria Hill.
Okay, so played by Kobe Smulders. Okay, so they're in a bar in Russia, and she notices that Nick Fury can speak Russian. Okay, they sit down, and she says, and he says, how do we? This is what Nick Fury says. How do you think we kept the Cold War from going hot? Spooks like me. Nick Fury refers to himself as a spook. Spooks like me. And then she says, you can't say that. And then he responds, no, you can't say that. Nick Fury refers to himself as a spook. What the fuck is this doing in a fucking Marvel TV show? It's a piece of shit. I'm so disgusted. Okay, this isn't the only line. There are more. Okay, did you notice this, Alan? There are more. But I couldn't believe it. Why would Nick Fury refer to himself as a spook? Why? Why did that happen? Why is this in this show?
I mean, people are bringing this up.
We'll go to the chat in a minute.
This is what I always thought the word spook meant. A spy. It's just weird that it becomes.
Why does she respond? Why does he respond to her and say, "You can't say that"?
Yeah.
She says,
"Look, we could quibble the word spook, but keep going because it gets worse."
He says, "You can't say that." No, you can't say that. Meaning, referring to you can't call me that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going.
But it gets worse. It gets worse.
It gets worse.
Is it racial? Maybe not. But
okay. That one
gets worse. It gets worse.
Quibble all you want. It gets worse. Second episode, they're on a train. Right? He's on the train with what's the character's name? Who's the Skrull? But he's from Captain Marvel.
Telos.
Yeah, Telos. So they're on he goes. So they're on a train, and it's like this elegant, upscale train. And Fury says, on train rides from Alabama to Detroit, we had to go in the colored car. We had to bring fried chicken and deviled eggs. And he just goes on and tells a story about his mom and how they had to be in the colored car back then.
Yeah, but you think that's bad?
No. It gets worse. Then there's a scene with Don Cheadle's character and Nick Fury. They have this whole meeting, and Fury says, "Men like us don't get promoted to power based on who our daddies know." And then Don Cheadle goes on, "The reason we wrested power from mediocre men who don't look like us was not to hand it to mediocre men who do." And then they talk about their bond with ancestral history. It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird because none of this was ever in a Marvel show ever. And so here is, War Machine, Don Cheadle, and it's just weird. They're just talking about mediocre. I mean, like, why is this in this show? What is the point of this? It just made me hate the show. That like you can't. You're this bullshit fucking lecturing that has to be in everything. Whatever Robert Meyer Burnett, whatever scripts he read are definitely not what they ended up making, because they handed it to some idiot to do it a punch up for social justice. Fuck this show. I don't know that we'll continue covering it beyond episode 1 and 2. I don't even know that any other YouTubers are going to care. I mean, this is like, if you thought writing in some of these other Disney Plus shows was bad, this is beyond bad. It's beyond bad, to the point of offensive bad, to the point of who the fuck is writing these shows? I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, Alan. I'm just like sitting here going like, I never first of all, who doesn't love Samuel L. Jackson as an actor? Who doesn't love the character of Nick Fury? And by the way, why does he not have his eye patch on? He's got this sort of cloudy eye, and then they more prominently made those scratches on his face more prominent.
Suddenly those scars grew really big.
By the way, I have a theory as to why he's not wearing the eye patch. Because Sam Jackson's like, I'll do the show, but I'm not wearing the fucking eye patch. I'm going to guess he just said, you know what? I mean, think of it. You're an actor. You got to go into makeup every day, whatever. It's just like, I'm not wearing the eye patch, right? Like, that's just.
Karen Gillan didn't want to have her hair shaved again.
So she looks weird. It's like, once these actors, they're on a timeline of like, they're playing a character for a really long time, they kind of get sick of it, and they can finally, if you want me, I'm going to make demands.
Well, I mean, like I said, to have your head shaved to do a movie, or to be to get into the green paint room every day, people want to not have to do all that stuff. Precisely,
I agree. But it just feels off. It feels weird.
Yeah, it's so. See, the metaphor here is, if you want to bring racism into the story, the metaphor is the humans versus the Skrulls. But now you're bringing in all this other baggage that just seems like they're just calling it out. And it will surprise me that this conversation that War Machine and Nick Fury had, it will surprise me if somehow it is brought into the rest of the story, that this is a ongoing theme, as opposed to just kind of complaining along the way. Which again goes to bad, lazy writing.
Well, it's to me, their conversation between War Machine and Fury is about, you should help me because I'm black. Mm-hmm. That's what they're having a conversation about. I'm black, you're black, help me. Let's get rid of these mediocre people who got here because of their daddies or this or whatever. It's really fucking clear what they're talking about. And it sucks that this is a show about this. It's a thread. It's a thread through the show, and I fucking hate it.
At least through the first 2 episodes, but yeah,
we've only seen track record. It's only the first 2 episodes. It could get even worse.
Yeah,
because my feeling is, this is okay. every Disney Plus show has kind of started out pretty good where I'm kind of interested, right? Especially WandaVision, some of these other shows, like they started off like, oh, the first episode's pretty good. And then it devolves into like, why am I watching this show? And if these are their first 2 episodes, I don't think that we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion a couple weeks from now. Hey, Az, heel versus babyface. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Let me know if you'd like to appear in court. I mean, there's either people that like, I don't want to be on critics court. Like, please, it's too much work. And other people that are like, why haven't you asked me? I don't know. It's but Az, thank you for, can't believe you're watching my show here. Me and Alan. It's bizarre. Yeah. But yeah, well, Az is going to have a field day with this when it comes out. It's those are just the lines from the first 2 episodes, but it really stood out as, why is this? It doesn't tie into theme, right? It's and just a lot of the characters' motivations are not really made explicit. Okay, it's the first 2 episodes.
Look, I'll say this, as I think if you, I feel like you know Secret Invasion and you like Secret Invasion, you will blow a gasket when you see the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. I don't know. Are they going to run the first 2 episodes on the first day? Sometimes they do that.
Sometimes I think they're waiting for us critics to say what we think, and then they'll decide. But all
right. Well, that's
I bet they do the first 2 episodes.
Well, I'll say this. To sum up before we go to comments. I cannot recommend this show. Mm-hmm. Not only that, it pisses me off. You know, Marvel used to be about, you know, becoming a hero, what it means to be a hero, rising up beyond your circumstances, having a journey that involved a character, you know, like a character's journey, like a Tony Stark who goes from a selfish billionaire genius to a person who you know, at the very end, you know, has a selfless act where he saves the galaxy effectively, or half the life in the galaxy. It's every character has an amazing journey. I don't know what the hell we're supposed to take away. I'm so annoyed at this show. I'm not sure I can take it beyond the first 2 episodes. I'm sorry. We're going to go to some Secret Invasion comments here. We will ask you about we're going to get to some Blackening comments too.
Yeah, I'll just say there's so much star power in this movie, in this show, that to be this bad is.
Olivia Colman is in the show, and she tortures a guy and cuts his finger off, and you're like, and she's just matter of fact about it. Okay, I will say this: Olivia Colman didn't give 2 shits about being on the show. She didn't care at all. A heel versus babyface. Love me some Film Threat. Say hi to X-Ray Girl's dad for me, please.
Oh,
XX. Well, there you go. Thanks, Az. We appreciate you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I know. I'm exhausted at how terrible it is.
I'll throw out what if
goes on.
What if is my go-to Marvel? If of the Disney Marvel, it's what if.
Heel versus babyface. Good. Let the anger flow through you. Yeah, as I do that sometimes. Why do you think I have a segment called Gore Rant? So, all right, we're gonna go to comments here and super chats. We're gonna get through these because we've got more movies to review today. We have a lot.
So let's how about odds on that the phrase "Scroll Lives Matter" appears in the show?
Scroll Lives Matter. SLM. Is that? Oh my God. It probably something like that. Oh my God. It will do something like that because this was written, I'm sure, a couple years ago. Oh my God. Oh.
And then I hope it bleeds through into Armor Wars. I'd like to see how race is injected into that show.
All right, Alan, first of all, obviously I can't recommend Secret Invasion, and I am angry at myself for taking the time to watch it. So, Alan, what are your thoughts? Recommend, rating? I mean, it's just the first 2 episodes. What if it gets better?
How can it? I mean, again, the foundation for this series is so weak that it can't get better, and it's already been shot, so it's not like they can take notes and improve things. The heart of Secret Invasion is gutted by not taking the place of superheroes. So why?
I mean, that's the thing is like, so then you've got all these like earthbound human characters.
Yeah.
I do expect, because there is a threat where War Machine basically says, should we just bring in the Avengers? And Fury is like, it's like they're making up an excuse for why the show is so low budget. Fury says, no, we don't want to bring in any superheroes, because what if the Skrulls mimic superheroes? So let's not have don't bring in the Avengers, don't bring in any heroes, because we don't. And I'm thinking, like, literally in a line of dialogue, you justified why the budget of this show is so freaking anemic.
Yeah. Okay. There's one way the show will get better, and it's this. What name do they constantly invoke in episodes 1 and 2? Carol Danvers.
Yeah, Carol Danvers. That's right.
She must be mentioned at least 12 times in the series.
Yeah, she's the only one they mention, and they do some flashbacks to the early 90s, like 95, 97, basically with the integration of the Skrulls. Fury puts together a task force of Skrulls who are going to help him on Earth, and they all volunteer, but they feel betrayed. So this is sort of where things start.
Fury blipped, and they didn't know where he went.
Not his fault.
Yeah.
It just, oh my God.
They're upset because Fury blipped.
I can't. All right, let's go to your comments and questions. But yeah, I can't recommend it.
Yeah.
I can't recommend it. You could, and it just, you know what? Watch for yourself. Watch for yourself. If you already have Disney Plus, whatever, watch for yourself. Wokemeter score says imperfect.
It's high in this one.
What's that?
It's high in this one. Yeah.
It's high. For Blackening, not that high. Blackening actually makes fun of woke stuff, which I thought was great. Yeah. Colby Smulders still freaking hot, says Mob 19.
All I can say to you, if you're a fan of Colby Smulders, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Watch the end of the first episode. Make of that what you will. Rida Ibn Muhammad, who's a member, thank you for that. Thank you, Chris and Alan, for the review. I am not watching this garbage Secret Invasion. Want Biscuit says spook is a racist term in American South historically, not used hardly at all anymore. See?
Yeah, but not.
It's very clear that he's correcting her, saying you can't use that word. I can use the word spook. But why does he refer to himself as in a racist way? It's so out of character for, like, I got the feeling that none of the actors gave two shits about the show they were in, including Olivia Colman, Oscar-winning actress. So there you go. Oh, we've got some super chats here. We're just going to get through all the chat. It's all over the map. Brian Blair for 10, who's a member. Thank you for that. Hey, Chris, where do you get your physical media, such as DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, etc., since the idiots in the world want to get rid of everything just because a few pansies get their panties in a wad? I buy used DVDs. There's a store called Book Alley in Pasadena. It's a great used bookstore. They have used DVDs. They also have records, and I love that place. So I'll get stuff used. I will also buy off Amazon, and also Amoeba Records in Hollywood. MM, thank you for that. MM for 5. Every character has an amazing journey. Meanwhile, Thor is finding himself yet again, one more time, last time for realsies. First of all, MM, you're not wrong. It's like his character arc is the same in every movie. It's just the same. It's like, I'm an arrogant asshole god. I've learned to be humble. Every single film. You're right. Yeah, it's tired. I mean, look, I think Chris Hemsworth is done. So there you go. James Ricciuti says, Chris, Gore, Alan, and now Az. It is a streamer dream team. Let's go. Oh, it's great to see Az here. I appreciate it. I watch Az's videos. I watched Az play Gollum It was more entertaining than all the Disney Plus Marvel series. As playing Gollum, you know what I want? I want Az to edit together all the moments where he took off his headphones and just stared bleakly, questioning his very existence, but for 2 hours. I just want a video of that. Oh, wait, as spook is slang for secret agent, says heel versus babyface. But then why, in the context in which it's their exchange, it sounds like he's correcting or saying you can't use that term.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is that a secret agent is secret and he hides in the shadows like a ghost.
Right. The UK MI5 still use it, says heel versus babyface. Do me a favor, Az, watch that episode and tell me if you thought that's. I'll say this: in the United States, that is not a term that was. I've never heard it used for spy. I've heard it used in a different way.
No. I mean, in the 70s and 80s, when I was watching spy movies, that term was always used.
All right. Well, it has also meant something different.
Yeah.
And the exchange,
to you and your ancestors,
in the context of their conversation and saying spook, like it felt like he was saying you can't say that.
Yeah, I understand that context.
Through the white lady.
Yeah, but I mean that's what threw me is because this was always a term about secret agents and spies, and to have heard that.
We don't know the intentions of the idiot writer of that episode and what they were trying to say. But thank you, Az. Look, I watch the episode. I'll stand corrected. But there is clearly a conversation between War Machine and Nick Fury in the second episode that goes off the fucking rails. Silix says, hi, have you seen the podcast with James Gunn? He agrees that there's no superhero fatigue, but repetitive stories.
Yeah, this is the Michael Rosenbaum podcast. And I'm halfway through it right now.
Made me feel hopeful about DC. Hugs. All right, I will listen to that episode. Watt Biscuits, there was a BBC spy show called Spooks, which was a really good show, but when aired in the US, the title was changed to MI5. See? Disparu is gonna love this, says Tradviz, who's a member. Well, thank you. Some Rumble. He was appealing to the black audience who actually liked those kind of jokes, says Film Threat. Was that you? Might have been Ms. P. Coffee. Rumble, Darkman X1222. Most likely, Samuel L. Jackson was given the opportunity to use his own lines. He has a history of doing so. The famous Snakes on a Plane line was improvised by him and was famous.
Oh, go to the next one. It continues.
Okay.
Yeah. The next starred comment.
The next one, I'm going from the bottom. Why don't you just highlight it?
Hold on. Let me find it. Okay, I'll have to grab the.
All right, hey, haha, take notes and improve things. Said no one in current Hollywood. The introspect M. Beerosaurus Rex, threat level 1, has been a member for 10 months and says, "Thank you for that, Beerosaurus Rex. Between Indy 5 and Secret Invasion, what a week for you." Yeah, very disappointing week. Year 0 writers fresh out of college have discovered racism and are telling us what happened. Thanks, kids, says Anandroid. Anandroid. I'll say this. I am now to the point where I don't trust anyone under 30. You know that old phrase, don't trust anyone over 30? I don't trust anyone under 30 because they're fucking morons. They're fucking morons. And try to lecture people. There's even a term for it. It's called reverse mentoring. And I'm like, the last thing I want to hear is some 20-something try to lecture me about history or film history or whatever. And not that I don't think people under 30 have something to contribute. I want to hear their honest opinions about things. But I also would like them to fucking listen. Uncomfortable silence.
The youth are weak.
I'm tired of seeing dumb takes on Twitter. I saw one of the dumb Twitter and YouTube. I saw one of the dumbest takes about racism on YouTube, and I'm debating whether or not I should respond to this bad take.
All I can say
from a very prominent YouTuber did a very bad I would such an uninformed take on racism. And just with a profound lack of knowledge about film history. I am seething every time I think about it. And I just think I don't do the YouTube drama. Okay. Other than like, well, Eric Weber and I have like this friendly rivalry. I don't hate Eric Weber. I bust his balls as he also busts my balls. That's how things should be. But I don't like to get caught up in YouTube drama or social media drama or any of that. I don't care. I back away. I usually just make jokes, but I am very upset about this particular take because it's a lot of people are agreeing with it and it's completely ill-informed. I might have to make a special video.
If only we could go back to the 60s when race relations were so much better. And what happened? How did we spin out of control from that time?
An Android, thank you for this comment. You hit the nail on the head. Calhoun just became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Join us on the Discord. The latest Discord link should be in the community tab, visible only to members. Talk to Alan and I on the Discord. We're on there all the time. Imperfect says, we don't care about the show beyond lampooning it. I would agree. Want Biscuits says, I have no desire to see this show, not because of any woke whatever. I have no desire to see it because it's a Disney product. Gene Hackman played a racist cop in French Connection and then played the opposite in Mississippi Burning. It's called art and acting, says MK Solid 82 for 499. Yeah, it's yeah, are we just going to take characters that have been racist in the past? Like, we're not able to see that they're racist. Like, you know, it's not an endorsement of racism because a character is in your movie who is racist. I can see that and go, I don't like that person because they're espousing a view I probably don't agree with, more than likely. But to ignore it is moronic. The Introspect M, thank you for the super chat. The Introspect M, perhaps the writers were trying to be clever, but they don't have the talent to pull it off. Kimberly Moore, they also do a better job with Secret Invasion on the Avengers animated series. I did not see that, Alan. You are the expert in that. Shucksy, I want to go see this in an all-Asian theater. Talking about the Blackening.
Yes, the Asianing or the yellowing.
The Geek and I podcast, are we allowed to see the Blackening? I remember being told I can't go see Black Panther 2. You are allowed. You know what? I laughed at a lot of the jokes. Yeah. Sorry to laugh. I laughed at a lot of the jokes. There's a joke about smelling a dick that like I lost it. It's a great joke. I love it. And I like that they have in the Blackening, there are many different types of black people. The problem is, and this is mostly like maybe a progressive white liberal thing where they just want to make black people one type of person. Like black people all think the same way. They all have the same thoughts and opinions. And what's interesting about the black people in the Blackening, they're very diverse. They're not all the same.
And they watched Friends.
And they would never admit to watching Friends, but they did watch Friends. I thought that was funny. So there you are. Yeah, you should go see it. I don't care about shit like that. At first, I was thinking this sounded like the Scary Movie series, but now it seems like it's totally closer to Cabin in the Woods. Is it similar to Cabin's tone? No, it is more like it's more comedy than horror. MM. Yeah. So
it's a comedy. It's definitely a comedy.
Straight up. Rumble, Toxic Avenger 3. How old is Nick Fury?
Well, I mean, how old is Samuel Jackson, and did he experience the things?
I mean, he's got a little peppery gray in there. So
yeah, but was he on segregated trains when he grew up?
Who knows? This is also from Rumble. Goldfoot, I definitely agree. They shouldn't include racialized dialogue. It just seems out of place because that's not what I feel like that's not the thread or the story, what they're trying to say. It's thrown in, and then they're having a conversation of like, hey, all these mediocre white people in the past just got their jobs because they were white and they just helped each other. Why don't we just do the same thing? It seems so out of place. I'm so glad that the movies never went that way. Oh my God, Sam Jackson is 74.
Yeah.
Says
so okay, so he could have definitely been on segregated trains.
It's possible, yeah. But what is that doing in this show? It has nothing to do with the story. It's Sam Jackson telling a story about eating fried chicken on a train, going from Alabama to Detroit in the colored car. It's nothing to do with their conversation. It's just out of the blue he tells this story.
But we talk about it. It's meant to be divisive.
It is meant to be divisive. Shucksy for 5. Thank you, Shucksy. Chris, you got to address that bad racism take, especially if a lot of people were agreeing with it. Fight misinformation with information and facts. I might just make a video, like actually just a video, like record a video and have it edited.
Yeah. Do it.
But I don't want to start a fight with another.
Yeah, that's true. We're not a political channel.
I don't want to do that because I think this person is very doesn't know film history beyond the last 10 years. Yeah. So thank you for that, Shucksy. I think we got to move on though. We got to move on.
Oh, no keeps coming up. Grace Randolph said she was bored watching it as well.
Oh, so she didn't. She reviewed it.
Yeah, and she didn't like it either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with her in the sense that it is boring. It is absolutely boring. You take the racial stuff out, it's not a good thriller. This movie, this show should be on par with what Civil War was, and it doesn't even come close to that.
It tries to be like a Bourne movie in the sort of like it's gritty, whatever. But it's like that TV light. Here's the thing: you said it to me. I think I texted you. We were talking, and you were just saying Disney can't do TV.
They can't.
That was your like overall, because you saw it before I did, and you said Disney can't do TV.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Look. To me, the first mark of a good television show is the end of each episode should lead to a cliffhanger. Do you remember the cliffhanger of episode 2? It was a reveal. Right.
Yeah.
Who cares? I mean, it's like this is what's going to get people to come back. This idea, and if I don't know if you want to spoil it, but it's like it is not a. It's meant to be a cliffhanger, and is the furthest thing from a cliffhanger.
They just don't know how to do TV.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will. All right, we're gonna pivot. For a second because Alan has seen Asteroid City. And I would like to, I want to see Alan. I want to see Alan. Should I go see Wes Anderson's Asteroid City? I just didn't have a chance to see it because I was watching other stuff, whatever. You saw Asteroid City, Alan. What did you think of Wes Anderson's Asteroid City?
Okay. I'm not a Wes Anderson fan. I liked half of French Dispatch. That's probably the only one I really mildly connected with. This is very Wes Anderson. It's not only is it very Wes Anderson, it is almost a Wes Anderson take on a Wes Anderson film. The movie is basically it's set up. It's a 3-act play. Bryan Cranston comes out as if we're back in the 60s, and it's what is not kind of like Twilight Zone. It was the Playhouse. I'm gonna say 39 or something like that. But it's set up like a television show. It kind of goes in the background of the writer, who's played by Ed Norton, and the play is about this city where an asteroid crashes, and all these people come together to basically bring their kids to a science camp that takes place at the asteroid landing. There's a ceremony there. It's kind of like a science fair. Jason Schwartzman plays a father whose wife died, and he held on to that information for 2 weeks before telling his children. Tom Hanks plays his father-in-law. Scarlett Johansson plays an actress whose daughter is smart, and she's in this group. And an alien lands and takes the asteroid away, and the government comes in and keeps them under surveillance, under quarantine for a long time. But it's shot in that Wes Anderson way where everyone just kind of speaks in that monotone, emotionless pattern. It's like I was with a friend, and he summed it up this way: Wes Anderson movies worked better when it starred nobodies versus starring this star-studded cast. Because it's kind of like when you have a nobody, you kind of buy into the fact that they're not actors and they don't have to emote, and they're not forced to emote. In this one, you have great actors: Tom Hanks, Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Jeff Goldblum, for crying out loud, and they just dial it back and they play that monotone, emotionless performance. This, like I said, I think I like French Dispatch because it was 4 stories. And I can kind of pick or choose which one I like. This was one large story. I just found myself bored from the start. I am not a Wes Anderson fan. There were Wes Anderson fans in my screening. They loved it. They were laughing at all the quirkiness about it. It was also in Hollywood at the Asteroid City pop-up. So there was a lot of Wes Anderson cosplaying going on, which I never knew was a thing. But going in, I just felt like an outsider, not understanding this guy, and I definitely don't understand him coming out of this one. The upside, the Scarlett Johansson has a nude scene in it.
I just got interested now. I just got interested in this movie. It's not the first time she's done nudity in a film.
And it's very quick, so it's not like
So you're saying wait for streaming when I can pause?
I don't know. I mean, are you a Wes Anderson fan? Maybe this.
The thing is this: I am a Wes Anderson fan because, I don't know. I like Wes Anderson movies. I like the tone. He's sort of like a very clever short. I've seen a lot of short films that kind of have a Wes Anderson tone. He's like a short filmmaker that makes features. So it's like the sort of cleverness in a short, but it does wear a little bit tired. I did Life Aquatic.
It really wears in this one.
Life Aquatic with Bill Murray is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. I just like his clever storytelling. I like the colors. Now I saw a friend of mine saw this last night, who said it's one of his favorites of the year. He really enjoyed it. So look, all I'm saying is Wes Anderson's not your cup of tea. I like Wes Anderson, but I haven't seen it. I'll report next week because I'll see it this weekend. Is it in wide release yet, or is it just?
I believe so, but it's definitely in LA.
Okay.
But I think it's a wide release.
They have a tendency, his movies have a tendency to like open small and then go wider.
Yeah.
But
there's that pop-up. There's a pop-up. It's the theater near the DGA. I forget the name of that one.
It's the Sunset.
It's the Landmark by the DGA.
Yeah. I will see it this weekend.
Maybe you'll like it better than I did.
Yeah, I will definitely see it this weekend. But I tend to like Wes Anderson movies more than most, only because they're weird, and I like weird. I like David Lynch. I like John Waters. I like filmmakers that take risks. I like filmmakers that don't tend to care about pleasing a mainstream audience. I don't consider myself necessarily a mainstream audience. So I will.
That's why I liked French Dispatch. At least the first 2 stories in that one.
Right.
And this is the thing. It was quirky, but it had something to say. The first one with Javier Bardem had something to say about art. In this one, it took a long time to just kind of figure out where we're going and what's happening, and what if there is anything to be said. What is that? What is this thing he's trying to say? And I think I got it, but I'm pretty sure I missed it. And it did feel very much like Wes Anderson trying to do Wes Anderson.
All right. Well, look, I all I can say is this. I can't believe we haven't talked about The Flash yet, and there's still over 600 people watching live. So smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber, and let's get to your comments and questions. So a lot of comments here. Let's get right to them. Super chats. Empo for 11.99 euros. Please explain why movies are made the way they are consistently. I'm 45. I watched all the classic movies. What is going on? I believe it's a Ponzi scheme. I'm being serious. Seems purposefully. Ponzi scheme, yes, in the sense that, I mean, what movie studios are doing is we see the initial box office, we're like, that movie's a bomb. Well, initially, maybe. But what they've done is they've added a movie to their library, which they will own forever. Okay. And that movie has library value, meaning people are still paying to see Casablanca and Gone with the Wind because those movies are re-released in different formats. They're licensed to television. What you've created is an asset, right? Like so, you could talk about the Flash bombing or this movie bombing or whatever, but ultimately, if it's a movie that can outlive, its initial release and become a title that people are interested in years in the future, it's like owning a piece of property that you can rent out, Airbnb, and continue to make money on. But I do believe, look, the film finance is comical, and a lot of it is ego driven by people who just want to have the title of producer. And yes, Ponzi scheme, yes, but ultimately what studios are building is libraries that become an asset.
Yeah. By the way, the chat is talking about the producers, and it dawned on me, but
the producers,
Disney, Zero Mostel, Gene Wilder.
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah,
Disney
that's not wrong.
Is becoming Max Bialystock. They're pumping what? Little Mermaid cost $250 million. I think Elementals was around the $200 million range. Crazy. Why are they pumping that much money, considering how much Spider-Man cost or Spider-Verse cost? But
what they're doing is, and this is why they're so tied to that ESG score, is they're borrowing against future earnings, right? They believe that if they borrow $200 million, they'll make $300 million. So they'll pay back that loan, right? And then they've got that 100. So it's a constant like. Yeah. But what I believe Disney's gotten themselves into, and I'm not a financial expert. I just but I'll say what they've gotten themselves into is they are cash poor. Because they're cash poor, because their movies are not profiting, they have to continue to borrow money. In order to continue to borrow money, they have to meet certain criteria and standards for ESG to borrow money.
Yeah. Well, as you say, they have an asset now that they can borrow against as well.
But the thing is they do have an asset that, like, look, most indie movies that are made take 7 years to pay out. So let's say you make an indie movie that costs $100,000, you'll get that money back in 7 years. And a lot of time with inflation, it's not even worth it. So you're really betting against the future. And a lot of the most successful indie producers I know, they usually make 5 or 6 movies a year. Four of them bomb and 1 or 2 of them make a profit. And then they just keep going. So you're building library. So yeah. Asteroid City is only playing in New York and LA this weekend. It goes wide next weekend. So looking forward to it, though, says Nicholas Vargo for $4.99. Thank you, Nicholas. Nicholas, I believe I ran into you at the premiere of Attack of the Doc, and I will be going to the Frida Cinema this weekend. I might, in fact, go tonight. There is a Godzilla film festival. Some of my favorite Godzilla movies are playing on the big screen this weekend. So
is Destroy All Monsters part of
that? I don't know if Destroy All Monsters is. I know Godzilla versus the Astro Monster, and I believe Ghidra is tonight. But I'm going. I'll be there tonight, Alan, if you want to meet up.
Oh, no, I'll be in San Diego tonight.
Oh, you performing?
Yeah, I'll be doing the Dirty Show.
Cool.
But Destroy All Monsters, I believe, is out. A new version is out on Blu-ray, or a upgraded version.
Oh my God, I got an amazing gift. I got War of the Gargantuas on Blu-ray. I love that film. I actually have War of the Gargantuas action figures. Very excited. But yeah, Nicholas, good to hear. I'll be at the Frida this weekend. Greasy Guido, what degree of nudity did Scarlett show? Alan, be as specific as possible.
Yeah, full and brief.
Full and brief?
Yes.
Well, look. There might be look. Research purposes only. There's a website called Mr. Skin. I actually interviewed Mr. Skin on this channel. Go to the Film Threat YouTube channel and look up Mr. Skin. I interviewed him for a movie about the history of nudity in the movies. A very serious documentary. It's a fascinating doc. But I did an full interview with Mr. Skin. He is a scholar of nudity. And I'm sure Karen Allen is on there. Continue with comments. Oh my God. Mpo, my brother worked for WWE and I met a lot of people and some of the business today, like Dwayne, aka Rock, was nice enough and never thought someone I knew first name basis made it big. Well, there you go. Appreciate the comment. I just save Wes Anderson movies for when I'm in the mood for one, says Beerosaurus Rex. Wait, I didn't finish reading the comment.
Yeah, something happened to it.
Okay. Like being in the mood for a certain food. Beerosaurus Rex, totally, you got to be in the mood for it. Usually it's like after you've seen a bunch of piss shit, like mainstream Hollywood movies, you're like, I just want something that like some substance. Give me some substance. So like it is a different taste. It's kind of like when you've seen all the big summer action movies. That's when like your Oscar awards indie movies come out in the fall. Yeah, you have to be in the mood for it. Very astute comment. Craig Wilson for 10. Your Honor, I would like to refer everyone to Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. His character clearly used that word as a racial slur. The point is for his character to have a change. He has an arc, and he's actually underneath his racist views. He is a good man who's frustrated with what's happening today. So I love that movie, and mostly non-actors acting with Clint Eastwood. Wait, I may go see Asteroid City after all for research purposes, says Toasty Danny. Chris says it's not Scarlet, it's a double, confirmed by Wes.
Well, that explains why the head was blocked. So
still gonna go see it. Want Biscuit says she have a crunchy bush, Alan?
Well, if you're nude, how do you know it's crunchy?
Nicholas Vargo, wish I could go. I live in San Diego, so I can go to the Frida every once in a while, and I wasted a lot of money on my vacation, so I have to cut back, sadly. Shame, too, because the Frida rocks. Yeah, thefridacinema.org. Check it out. We got to get through these comments. We got to go quick on the comments. We're going
because we got to get to the Flash, because everyone wants to talk about the Flash.
We did do a big live stream about the Flash. We're going to sum up now that we can talk about Diano for £5. The producer of Get Carter bought Thorn/EMI library for $2 million, sold it to HBO for $12 million in their early days. Do you see? Libraries of movies are worth a lot of money. The Nerd Far Away, I want to see Asteroid City, just not sure about Anderson's style. Well, you're stuck. The movie sounds boring. Sometimes I like boring movies, says Imperfect. And Heel versus Babyface says, it looks like the most Wes Anderson thing since the last Wes Anderson thing, Wes Anderson. God, I love Az.
I mean, I saw Rushmore. I've seen some of the other ones.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was elevated in any way. But again, I think you're the better expert on this. So,
all right. Week. Well, the Introspect M is a very good suggestion. Put your political takes on your new channel, Crunchy Bush. So there you go. We have comments here that are specifically related to the Flash. We will get to your comments and super chats related to the Flash after we talk about the Flash. Can you imagine in Pulp Fiction, Jules telling Jimmy he can't use the N-word with the hard R after sipping his coffee and bring a dead body to his house, says Carnal for 5. Yeah, it's just Look, it's organic. And also, if you know anything about Quentin Tarantino, look at interviews with him. I feel like there is a reason that his films feel so authentic. I don't want to get into it here, but he tells a very heartfelt story about his father left when he was a kid, and his mother was dating a black gentleman, and the black gentleman, this black man that his mother was dating, kind of became his surrogate dad, and used to take him to the movies, and he just treated him like a kid, not special, not whatever, just like a kid, like kind of like a surrogate son. And he took him to see a lot of blaxploitation movies when he was young, and he had a good relationship with his, not officially necessarily a stepdad. And he talks about what an impact that person had. And you should hear Quentin talk about it. Don't listen to me. Hear Quentin talk about that. And it had a profound effect. And I believe a profound effect on how he has black characters in his films. So yeah, I just think the censoring films from the past, censoring ourselves here, the sort of presentism and lecturing is ridiculous. I prefer to just see authentic voices, which is why I've always admired someone like Spike Lee, who doesn't give a fuck. My thing with Spike Lee is, why does he even care about getting an Oscars? I always thought the Oscars, after a certain point, I think the Oscars are bullshit. Why does he care? He should not care about that. Just go do your own thing. Don't give a fuck. And I just admire filmmakers that just don't give a shit. Like, I'm just going to do my thing. Don't care. I'm not trying to please the film gods. I'm not trying to win an award. If you make a movie to try to win an award, it's probably going to be a shitty movie, which is most of the movies that get nominated for awards these days. Thank you, Carnell, for that comment. All the other comments here are actually related to The Flash. We're going to save them. So my apologies. We're going to pivot for a moment. We're going to pivot here finally to The Flash, but I'm going to play a dumb, funny video as we pivot. What?
I'm frozen in that. But
yeah, why are you frozen?
Well, yeah. Because, I'm not going to get into how these videos are made.
What? I love it. I love it.
No, the only reason I'm frozen is because what they're doing to you, it would look weird if I was kind of moving in that fashion.
I think it'd be funny if you were. Anyways, those videos are edited by Glenn Brown, our producer, and Leo Cody just contributes these. He just thinks they're funny. He sends us these weird videos. All right, let's jump right in. The Flash is finally here after delay after delay after delay, after reshoot after reshoot after reshoot. The Flash is finally here. You have seen The Flash. I want to know what you think about it. If you saw The Flash last night at the Thursday preview, please post your thoughts. We will get to your comments. Alan and I, in an earlier video, gave our remarks. I don't think much of my thoughts have changed about it. I do have some information about the post-credit scene that might change some things. So I'm going to get to that. But look, this is my favorite Batman movie of the last couple years, because there hasn't been a Batman movie in the last couple years. And let me just say that I think Ezra Miller can't carry this movie. This is the major flaw of this film, is that Ezra Miller was cast as part of an ensemble. And when you cast Mega Chad, Manley, Henry Cavill, and Ben Affleck, and Jason Momoa, not everybody can be a square-jawed, huge chest, 6'6", giant masculine superhero. in a group. He was really cast against type of the other actors to be the comic relief. And on that, with less screen time, Ezra Miller is fine. I always thought he was entertaining, okay, as the comic relief, okay? As comic relief, I thought Ezra Miller worked. He's not the focus. He's not the lead. As a lead in the film, he can't carry it. Not to mention two Ezra Millers. So you've got the one that's really kind of still whiny, annoying, a little on the spectrum in some way. And then you've also got the younger version of him. That's, I think the one in the film is 25. The one he goes sort of comes back not at the right time, 18 years old. And their dynamic it's kind of interesting, but also like the older brother, they have kind of a brotherly relationship, is sort of less annoying. But it's that dynamic just it wears thin. The stuff with the mother, him going back to save his mother, and I'll let you know when we're getting into spoilers. Stuff with his mother really worked for me. That landed. I have a very good friend who is huge fan of The Flash. He lost his mother at a young age, and he was weeping in tears at the end of the film. So, and also I have some thoughts about the end. I'm not going to get to that right now, but this is a Batman movie for me. And let me just say, I grew up loving Batman. I watched the reruns when I was a kid watched those. I mean, a little kid, and then watched it after school. We're talking about the Adam West 66 Batman television series. Loved it. Saw every episode. Loved that show. Was a huge fan of Batman. I have a vivid memory of on my 5th birthday watching the Batman movie. I got to stay up late and watch it on a Sunday night. I couldn't believe it. It was like the Batman movie, which is the Adam West Batman movie. Then just collected Batman comics, which were ridiculous. Then the Neil Adams sort of more serious Batman, The World's Greatest Detective, came to light. I remember reading in Starlog magazine that a producer named Michael Uslan got the rights to do a serious Batman movie. This is in the late 70s. And I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. Like, wait, they're going to make a serious Batman film? No one would believe this producer. It wasn't until John Peters and Tim Burton teamed up, got Michael Keaton to be in the Batman suit. And by the way, everyone criticized Michael Keaton. They thought he was too wimpy, whatever. Like this whole thing of like, why are geeks so critical these days? That's always been I remember sitting at Dave's Comics in Royal Oak, Michigan, talking to Dave and everyone who worked at that store about like, oh, Michael Keaton, how can he? And then that issue of Time magazine came out, and there was one still of Michael Keaton in the Batman suit, and it looked freaking badass. It looked great. Mr. Mom is Batman, says Az, heel versus babyface. It was like Mr. Mom. And I couldn't believe it. I saw that movie when it came out. And by the way, this was at a time, 1989 came out in summer. Mm-hmm. Movies didn't go in theaters for 2-3 weeks and then they were gone and then whatever. This movie, Batman, was in theaters from June all the way through December, because I moved to Los Angeles after that summer. So I saw Batman, loved it, and I had complaints. My biggest complaint about the movie, I still complain the first movie. The character that goes on the hero's journey is actually Jack Napier, not Bruce Wayne. We get his story in a flashback, right? In a flashback at the end of the movie, Ever Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight? But if you look at Jack Napier, he's the one that has we see the movie kind of from his point of view. And the movie is also from the point of view of the reporters. Robert Wool's character, and Vicky Vale, they're kind of like this. They're these outsiders. We don't get Batman's story till kind of in the middle, and then the end is like a memory. So I had big problems with Batman, and I saw it probably 15, 20 times in the theater because I just kept going back. And I moved to Los Angeles in September of 1989, and it was playing at the Egyptian Theater, a theater that was freaking run down. It was like $1 or $2 theater. You could see movies there. This theater was so run down. I have a vivid memory of going to see Batman there in that theater and seeing a cockroach crawl on top of a seat, not on the floor, on top of a seat. I was just like, what am I doing in this theater? I'm seeing Batman for the 15th or 20th time. And in spite of the flaws, and there are flaws, I really love that film. I mean, I think a lot of it, Michael Keaton's performance, Tim Burton's sensibility, the score from Danny Elfman,
Jack Nicholson, for crying out loud.
And Jack Nicholson, Jesus. Okay, and then the Prince music, okay, Bat Dance, but also everyone had a Batman shirt. Everyone had that, like, the bat symbol shirt that you could, I mean, it was just like, and it was like, okay, normies are into it, which I don't mind. I'm like, all right, it's a big tent, you're welcome. So as someone who is a huge fan of Michael Keaton Batman, we can talk about Batman Returns another time. I went nuts. It was my inner child. I'm sorry. I mean, there's like a photo of me as a kid wearing a Detroit Tigers hat and a Batman t-shirt at the Detroit Zoo. And like, so longtime Batman fan. And so I am biased. I like all the Batman stuff. I like when you see his scene, which takes place in the same kitchen where there's a scene with Alfred, Vicky Vale, and Michael, Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton. And they recreated that kitchen, which is where they have the pasta scene, and you sort of see old, disheveled, crime is down in Gotham. Like you see that version of Batman. It was great. It's like this is what it was to me. It was like the third Michael Keaton Batman movie they didn't get to make. We'll get into it more. So I am biased. I like the Batman stuff in The Flash. Yes, and there are the CG in this movie. And when I initially saw it, I was told that this wasn't the finished film. The CG in the movie looks like a PS3, maybe, and it felt temp, especially in the scenes that were like where you see the multiverses as like these, like it's like a stadium, but then it's also like these like crystal balls or something with like different universes colliding, right? Like that CG there, and also Michael Shannon, it looks like his face was grafted on. It might have, in effect, it might have been a deep fake of Michael Shannon. He may have they may have licensed the rights to his voice and face. He may have never, looking at it, because when I saw it, The Flash, the first time, it was in the very front row and it was IMAX. But wow, that CG is just unforgivable. It seems like temp, and then you give notes. Let me talk about the bad CG for a second. There is a short list of directors, because I made a film in 2005 called My Big Fat Independent Movie, and there are 50 CGI shots in the film. And what you do is you do temp, then you go like further render, and you give notes. And there is a very specific, if you are able to give decent notes, and also the way you cut it, if you show it less, it tends to be more convincing. If you use sound design, shadows, and other like layering, you can make it more convincing. I'm not saying the CG, there are 50 CG shots in My Big Fat Independent Movie. I guarantee there are ones you won't know are CG, like sign replacement, among other things. But you've got to give really good notes. When you have so many CG shots, those note sessions are crazy. There's a short list of directors that can do good CG in their movies because, and Christopher Nolan has stated this, he only uses CG when there is no other way to accomplish a task. He mostly, for the most part, uses bigatures, which are large size miniatures. Okay. So you'd be shocked how many shots in The Dark Knight are just miniatures. Mm-hmm. Like there's a chase with the Joker. He's in the van shooting missiles. Most of that is miniatures, but they call them bigatures.
They're the Batcave and Wayne Manor,
among other things. He doesn't like to use digital effects. Christopher Nolan is really good at utilizing digital effects where they don't look digital. Denis Villeneuve has also proven capable of that. Steven Spielberg, go back and look at War of the Worlds, among other films with special effects. He is also on the short list of directors that better integrates digital effects so they don't look so digital. I believe that there is a shortage of very good digital effects artists, and there are directors that are up against deadlines, because this often happens. John Carpenter has complained about this, where John Carpenter's complained that there's release dates for a movie before they've even finished the script. That's not a way to make a movie. Okay. So I believe these bad digital effects were the director Muschietti was under a deadline. Maybe he thought that, well, these will be temp, I'll be able to better render them. But I have a feeling, and Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic pointed this out, and I agree with him, that he was probably told, nope, cut off. We're not spending any more money on this movie. Yeah. That makes sense to me. And that's probably the case in this, which explains the bad CG. So look, I am biased because of Batman. I'm sorry. I'm just biased. Yeah. Which is why I have issue 27 of Detective Comics, first Batman appearance, bagged. This is a reproduction. Okay, but it's a reproduction of the actual issue. Okay, it's a reproduction. I've not opened it. It's a reproduction of the actual issue with ads and everything. I couldn't afford this, but
so let me give you my different take.
All right, what's your different take?
I have no vested interest in the Flash or DC. That's not what I grew up on, and so
okay.
So watching this movie, I had a great time because I'm not hung up on the Flash lore. I'm not hung up on Flashpoint, not like Secret Invasion, which I am hung up on. So I just came in as someone who hasn't seen a good superhero movie in a long time, and we know that. The Marvel and DC have not been putting out the greatest stuff. And so I'm, I thought this story was really interesting. I thought that, we've seen a lot of movies where one actor plays two roles. This was seamless. It was all, the way that it was shot, the way the CG stitched it all together, it looked perfect. And I'm just blown away by that. The animation, I think you're right about the animation in the sense of, new DC, new Warner Brothers not going to pump more money in it. I was okay with it because it wasn't meant to be perfect. We're in this dimension where time is slowing down and where other universes are colliding with one another, and we're bringing in characters like you've never seen before. You see people who passed away coming back as Superman, as Batman. Adam West is in the movie, for crying out loud. And the way he's running, I'm more willing to forgive it because of the context in which these effects appear in. Because I would much rather see this bad CG than some cheesy CG that I've seen, Flash and Quicksilver being done in. And so I was perfectly fine with this. To me, the only real weakness of this movie is the attempts at humor. It's just a little bit overdone, and it really doesn't get serious until Batman shows up. And once Batman shows up, the whole movie becomes deadly serious, and especially at the end when New Flash is just kind of going mad with trying to save Supergirl and Batman. So again, I think just how much of a vested interest you have in these stories and these characters will say a lot about whether you like this movie or not, or how critical you're going to approach this movie with. Also, if you're not a big fan of Ezra Miller, that's going to throw that wrench in there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But overall, I had a good time when I saw it the second time. It was just as fun. So I could see myself seeing it one more time after this.
Well, I will say this. I mean, you're more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. I'm more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. Okay. But even though I grew up reading both, the Batman stuff I just loved. I'm sorry. Seeing it was like the conclusion, closing a chapter on that character. What happened to him, right? Like he became a recluse. There's no Alfred. Like it was, I don't know, that was just really satisfying to see. So I'm sorry. I'm not even going to apologize. I liked it for the Batman stuff. I liked it because it also ends. You know what? We're going to get into spoilers right now. So here's your warning. I'll put a warning at the bottom too, so you can see. I'll give you a 3, 2, 1. We're talking spoilers. Oh, we had like 5 people dip out. We still have like almost 700 people
Yeah,
watching.
we still have 30 on Rumble watching us. So
Oh, cool. This movie's a tragedy. And that's why, like, it starts off goofy comedy. And yes, Ezra Miller, I don't know that you could make another Flash movie that wasn't weighted with other co-stars. And I also have something to add about the post-credit scene. So this movie is a tragedy. The goal of the character of Barry Allen is to save his mother. And because if he selfishly wants to, like, he will put the universe at risk to save his mother. And it comes down to, so you've got this big epic scale story of the it's not just the universe, it's the multiverse, right? It's all these different other universes at stake. Only because one person wants to save their mother, right? Who died tragically. Although it did annoy me on second viewing that, like, they don't go into how his mother got killed, and they sort of brush off, like, I can't get involved in that event, so I'll have to do something else involving a can of tomato sauce. But I love that it just involved that. It was like sort of like big events and a small thing, and something that you could get, like, I'm not gonna lie, I got choked up in that scene where he basically has to say goodbye to his mother, and by his very actions, she has to die. And we are defined by these events. You know, this is what Bruce Wayne is giving the sage advice. We're defined by these events, right? Like these events make us who we are. And the idea that he has to take that can of tomato sauce out of her cart, effectively saying, and he gets a hug and he's in tears. My close friend, I'm not going to out him, was he lost it because he lost his mother at a young age, and he's a huge fan of the Flash. The story resonates with him, and I was thinking about my friend during that moment. That was heartbreaking. And I will say this: the audience that I saw the movie with loved this movie. It's a popcorn movie. They're not thinking too deeply about it. Maybe they're not as bothered by the bad CGI, although I think that's something that everyone will mention. It's a popcorn movie, didn't need to be 2.5 hours. Yes. But that scene is really heartbreaking. And the other thing is, not only did Barry Allen not save his mother, he couldn't save that world.
Yeah.
Supergirl, Kara, could not defeat Zod. She gave a valiant effort. She is not as powerful as Zod, a warrior, right? She did her best. Her role was to protect Kal-El, who was killed. And then she dies multiple times. And we see it play out over and over in this world. Zod wins. Batman dies in multiple acts of self-sacrifice. And nothing that the Flashes can do will change these events, no matter how much they try to do something different. If you really think about this, it's almost like, which is why I think it's really smart that they included, which is in like a dumb throwaway joke, Eric Stoltz is in Back to the Future. Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz, and then the one roommate has the tattoo. I thought that was really clever. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, we have different tastes in humor too.
No, but wait. But Eric Stoltz's take on Back to the Future was that it was a tragedy, that his other siblings lived another life he didn't get to live. That when he came back and things were, quote, fixed at the end, it was a different life that version of Marty McFly didn't experience. So he saw the movie as dark. And I mean, they almost filmed the entire movie. They should just actually make a version of the movie with Eric Stoltz and what his take on it was. But he was in conflict with Robert Zemeckis, the director, that he saw it as a tragedy. And then they got, everyone knows the story, okay, of that.
I mean, the movie was practically, principal photography was practically done at that point.
And they just remade the movie with Michael J. Fox, who was working his day job. They had to have a car go back and forth, and they just redid it. And he better captured the tone. Eric Stoltz was just not making it work. So the fact that that's in there, I think makes a lot of sense, because this movie is a tragedy. That world ends. He doesn't save his mother. The hero doesn't get the one thing he wanted, the goal. And now look, there's a light tone in this, but if you really think about it, the film is really dark, and I appreciated that. So I liked it better than most, and I liked it. Their films, look, you can't convince me. I will enjoy a film in spite of its flaws because I have bias. We all go into films with our certain biases, right? Like I have a bias towards the Michael Keaton Batman because of my love of Batman as a kid and how much that movie meant to me, because it wasn't a perfect Batman film, 1989 Batman, but it was perfect. I felt, for me, it was Michael Keaton, just holy shit, he's amazing as Batman. I don't think he was the best Bruce Wayne. I think Christian Bale is a better Bruce Wayne, but that's a whole other conversation we could have, ranking the Batman, so to speak.
I mean, he was the first movie Batman.
First movie Batman, but I grew up
after Adam West. Let's put it that way.
Look, I loved Adam West Batman, and if you actually watch, I have that box set of the Batman Blu-rays. That first episode, which was the pilot episode of Batman, it didn't air often. It's the only one where he mentions the death of his parents, and it's the only one that has a more serious tone. And by the way, a lot of the episodes of Batman, the 66 TV series, were written by a writer named Lorenzo Semple Jr., who also wrote the movie Flash Gordon, starring Sam Jones. Same tone, which is why I like Flash Gordon. Other long story I could tell about seeing that movie. But look, The Flash is like, I feel like it's two movies. It's a movie I really didn't like, starring Ezra Miller, for the first hour. And then it's a movie I really enjoyed in the last hour that ends as a tragedy. And we see how, and because I always like to think look, there are two good ends to a hero: riding off into the sunset, or dying in an act of self-sacrifice that is meaningful. Unfortunately, the Star Wars sequels didn't get that memo. But you know, so it's like, it's sort of, for me, half of a movie. If I had to rate, like, the last half, I'd give it a 7 or 8. The first half, I'd give it like a 4 or a 5. So I don't know, you average them, it's like a 6.5 or a 7. So I liked it more than I should because of my biases. So and it's fine. So there you go. Others will disagree with me. I'm looking forward to FNT to see their thoughts. Already watched some reaction videos, but
sounds like they won't be as kind as we are to the movie.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, Alan, before we go to the chat?
No. I mean, it'll come up in the chat. Yeah.
All right, good. Let's get to our chat questions. Chat comments. Oh my God, there's a lot of chat questions. Holy cow. We'll go to super chats first. Starting from the bottom. Frank Gore and Bush of Crunches, says Drew Skull. Well, thank you for that. Look, go back and watch that scene. Go back and watch that scene.
Now. I can't. It's
what?
You're gonna make dirty a good moment in the movie. And
look, I saw it when I was a kid. All right.
Yeah.
Raiders. Bran Brindlebeard 3 for $199. Well, thank you for that. Turo, thank you for your we had a message exchange earlier. Turo for 5. I haven't set up my payment on Rumble yet, so here you go. Great show as always. Going back to Rumble now. Well, thank you, Turo. Yeah, thank you. I've been watching Rumble more and more. Some of my favorite YouTubers have gone to Rumble and they're unleashed. Love that. Diano for £5. Did you see the Flash director hired for new Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold? Yes. Now, this is why this is a good thing. I think that it's Andy Muschietti is the name of the director.
Yes.
I think that under Gunn, because he made this movie not with Gunn's involvement. There is a new DC. I have a theory that it's going to be a hard reboot. That the new DC is a hard reboot. James Gunn did say that Blue Beetle will be the first character that will be entering the new DC. Oh, and the other thing is, I didn't talk about. Matthew Hammond for 499. Am I the only one that was upset that we did not get Superman Lives after watching The Flash? There's always that John Schnepp documentary. Great documentary. But real quick, there's a post-credit scene. Warning, spoilers. We're deep into spoilers. A post-credit scene with Aquaman and the Flash getting drunk. I talked to a friend who saw the test screening. This would make a good standalone video. Just so Glenn knows this. Post-credit scene of the Flash. There are two. There is one that is kind of a one-off joke where...
It's a joke, yes.
It's a joke. Barry is going to meet Bruce Wayne, and who is it? It's George Clooney. Okay, one-off joke. Who are you? Whatever. That was fun. My understanding is they actually shot that scene with Michael Keaton originally. There are stills of it, and they added George Clooney's head. But there is another post-credit scene, and there's something important about that post-credit scene because the post-credit scene that is in the theatrical version was changed from the test screening. Here's how it was changed. You see basically the Flash and Aquaman, they're having the Flash is more sober than Aquaman, who's shit-faced drunk and being an idiot and whatever. That scene is longer during the test screening. What happens is Barry goes back to his apartment and takes Aquaman there where he crashes on his couch to sort of sleep off being drunk. He sits down, his computer comes on, and it's Ben Affleck Batman and Henry Cavill Superman, and Batman says, "Barry, what have you done? You're in the wrong universe." Cut to black. They cut that scene short to make it a joke. It was basically supposed to continue the Snyderverse. Obviously, that did not happen. The final result of the movie is that the movie is kind of a mess in the sense that, not just the weak CGI, but also the constant reshoots. So make of that what you will.
Yeah.
Back to your chat comments and questions.
Yeah, but clearly this is the end of the Snyderverse. Aquaman and it's over.
Drew Skull for 5. I did, and you're right. You can definitely tell she's got a jungle down there. Why is it by the way, Ms. P. Coffee is the one starring these remarks.
No, this is the super chat.
Oh, that was a super chat.
Yeah.
There are other remarks that mention Crunchy Bush. I just want you to know our female mod / co-producer is the one that seems very interested in all these Crunchy Bush comments. Just want that pointed out. Imperfect says, please confirm, is there any Crunchy Bush in the Flash? Not that I'm aware, but there's Wonder Woman's ass in a great shot. Killick69, first hour cartoony humor, second hour serious drama. True.
Yep.
Adam West Batman was a child of its time, like Star Trek. Both great shows that don't translate well today, it appears, says Lord Thoth. Lord Thoth, and thank you, Lord Thoth, one of our mods. It translates for me. I grew up watching it. Maybe it's a time capsule, but they're in tone. I don't know. I like, a manly Captain Kirk.
And it can't be Batman.
Can't be Batman. There you go. Heel versus babyface. As I did like the fact this world was doomed no matter what they tried. It was dark. Like Kara could not pull it out. She dies every time. And Batman, at least each time he died, he was dying going out, not going out like a bitch. He was gonna sacrifice himself. So there you go. Thanks, Az. Wow, Alan is really not selling this film. Haha, says Quator. Want Biscuits. I really don't want to see Flash. When you have to add tons of other superheroes to accompany the star hero, then those heroes carry the star. It's an admission they can't write a lone hero story. No, look, here's the thing is this is the best Justice League they could cobble together basically two Flash-powered heroes, Batman, an aged Batman, and Supergirl, who's kind of not maybe at full strength. It's the best they could do. Best they could do. Crazy Cat. Chris Campia Gore, stop pretending the CG vomit canvas is emotionally moving. I'll say this. The parts that were emotionally moving didn't involve CG. It involved a can of tomato sauce. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Barry getting to hug his mother after not seeing her because, you know, the whole thing with Monkey, and he had that monkey. Why that monkey? It was the one thing he got, but like the younger version, oh, I get tons of monkey stuff. Like it didn't mean as much to him. He took his relationship with his mother for granted. You should not take relationships with people you are close to in your family. You should not take that for granted. So there you go. Chris, it's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Says thoughts on fitness with Nige. Yeah.
Look, I think we get why, you know, it's no secret why people are not going to like this movie.
Right. I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't think that my opinion is the be all end all. There are other YouTubers that think that. There are other people I know on YouTube who think that their opinion is the only one that matters because they're an expert. I have different experiences, had different experiences growing up. I do have maybe a knowledge of film history going back because I'm freaking old. I'm older than Gary Beekler, by the way. Even though every time I'm with him, he's like, well, I'm the oldest one here. I'm like, Gary.
Don't be offended at that. Oh,
but what I'm saying is I explained, like, I acknowledge there are things that are flaws, and I still was moved and enjoyed parts of the film quite a bit.
I think this movie will do better at the box office than people will expect.
Okay. Drew Skull for 5. Frank Gore and the Merkin of Doom. It could, in fact, have been a Merkin. We'll have Mr. Skin back on the show. Yeah. I have his email.
Or maybe it was a Foley Merkin.
If you want Mr. Skin, he was a great guest. Robert Paul Champagne, my mom's not even gone, but just the way it was executed was really emotional. Bingo, same here. I've not, my mother is still here, and watching that scene, it got to me. I'm sorry, and you know what? I'm not going to apologize. F that. Is Sasha Kaye good in her version of Supergirl, says Son of the Red Fox? I thought she was great. I really enjoyed her. She's much more serious. She's not a married.
She's broken.
She's broken. I thought she played it very well. So it's unfortunate that those shots leaked of her where she looks kind of ridiculous. And there were rumors that she was going to replace Superman. It's not replacing Henry Cavill.
Yeah, not after what she goes through in this movie.
No, this is a one and done. Who is this normie geek? Disassociate immediately, says Dexter Moore.
I think he's referring to me.
It's fine. Have you two seen the same movie? Says Flip Pavelka. Look, this is why I really like doing the show with Alan. I have no idea what Alan's ever gonna like. His opinion's gonna be about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible to see the same movie and have different. That's why I'm interested to see what your thoughts on Asteroid City are.
Defeater Eater, does Chris have AARP? Hell yeah, I do. And get those discounts.
Did you know we qualify for discounts at Denny's and Savers?
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pull out my AARP card. There you go. Goliath Vaseo. I loved your movie, Chris. Oh, thank you for saying so. I appreciate that. Solomon Thornton. I always thought the Flashpoint comic book should have been the third film in a Flash story, not the first Flash film. Also, it sucks that Reverse Flash was not in it. Yeah, I have not watched the animated version of Flashpoint. I am going to get HBO Max just to watch that. I should get it anyways because there's good stuff on there. Thoughts on Andy Muschietti officially directing James Gunn's Batman? If you didn't discuss already, I did discuss. I think that's a very good thing. And I think that under the producership of James Gunn, I think it'll be better. I think James Gunn cares about decent CG. There you go. The introspect M. It would be interesting to know what parts of this movie are from before and after the reshoots. I think they should put all the deleted scenes on a Blu-ray. Put all the deleted scenes, including the extended post-credit scene. Put the Henry Cavill stuff in. It just sucks. I don't know why there's this bad blood with Henry Cavill. In interviews, he seems like so sober-minded and smart, and just a guy that gets fandom.
Yeah, he's a publicity machine. Having to be pulled back into the DC universe only to be taken back out again. I'm sure he's pretty bitter about that. Michael
Keaton is the GOAT, says Imperfect. Sifax, I really enjoyed it, even despite the bad CGI. See, Sifax, look, I acknowledge there are flaws, but it's kind of like saying that was the worst pizza I've ever had. It's still pizza. Or when you, it's like, I love cheeseburgers. And even when I have a bad one, I'm like, I don't know. I like a cheeseburger. Drew Skull for 5 says, too bad she wasn't a redhead. Could have been. Frank Gore and the crackling firebush. Am I never going to live down these Bush comments? I love MK, but thought Supergirl was actually the best character simply because she had the cleanest motivation. She was offended by Zod's actions. Everything else was a little convoluted, in my opinion. Fair point. Victor Fontaine for 499. Chris Allen, thanks for your more level and rational review of The Flash. Other channels are ranting and destroying every aspect of it. So annoying. Mm-hmm. Look, I acknowledge that first of all, I've always hated thumbs up, thumbs down. I feel like that's just sort of a weird sort of analog, way to review a movie. It sucks. It's great. No, there are things that are more nuanced. You can see, and plus there are movies where it's an actor in a movie is very good, but the movie is bad. There's a lot of that. I think Nick Cage, I've always enjoyed Nick Cage, doesn't always do a lot of great films, but I like Nick Cage. So I do appreciate that. This is why, with Alan and I provide balance. We don't always agree on things, but I respect Alan's opinion. So there you go. So thank you, Victor, for your acknowledgement of that. Solomon Thornton,
you read that one. Did I mention my publicist experience with this movie?
Oh, let's hear it. And then
it was look.
Let's hear it.
This never happens when I go to big screenings like this. But the publicist was very interested in me seeing this movie. When I showed up to check in, she approached me and we had a conversation, just saying, love to get your thoughts afterwards. And then after the movie was over, she sought me out and was like, okay, so tell me what you thought. And we had this conversation about what I thought about the movie. And then I got emails going, can you please get a review up as soon as you can?
There's a review
on I think they're very worried about this movie and they really want as much good buzz going into it as it possibly can.
Well, what can you say? Look, there's our nuanced take.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let's see. Did they see the claim that the bad CGI is on purpose because we were seeing things through the Flash's super speed?
That's how I interpreted it. That's how I kind of saw things.
Really? I think
that's how I kind of forgave the bad CGI.
But it looked like bad CG. They could have added another effect, like a blur, like you're seeing it vibrate. There's one of the classic ways to cover up bad CG is actually to have something in the rain. That's why that Godzilla movie is by what's his name, Gareth Edwards. That first Godzilla movie, it's raining for most of the movie because it's a way to cover up bad CG or it's dark out. I think they could have used a different digital effect because it just looked like bad CG. I didn't get that. That's stupid. But I don't like that. I don't like that take.
I'll chalk it up to what you said before. I just think they didn't want to spend more money on it.
Yumi in the movies goes on to say, yes, they didn't want to spend more money. I'm not saying I believe it. Crazy Cat, just an article from an interview I saw. I think they could have used a different effect where you could have seen Christopher Reeve and all those cameos and whatnot. But it's like maybe it's vibrating or you can kind of almost see it or it's through a mirror that's that's cloudy, like something where you can barely see it, but you see what it is. There's a different digital effect that could have gotten that across. Like Flash is almost, and then maybe he's like, look, kind of squinting, like, do I believe what I'm seeing? Like, it didn't work. It just looked like bad CG. So I think that maybe be the director kind of backpedaling a little bit.
Yeah.
And Retro Doc says, saw Flash yesterday. The falling baby scene was in shockingly bad taste. Then they repeated it during the credits. Couldn't believe what I was watching. It didn't bother me. I mean, I think it was meant to be cartoony and ridiculous. I think that came across to me. I thought it was really bad CG, like these CG babies. And like, I think there's only a few shots where you see real babies. I just thought it was distracting that it was bad. But what can you say? So thoughts on Fitness with Nige. You can't forgive bad CGI, particularly on this level. Alan, Chris, season 1 of the CW Flash is far superior.
Actually,
You're not wrong.
I have seen it. I do like season 1.
I watched season 1 and then it got stupid.
Yeah.
It just ultimately it got stupid. So there you go. You know what? The Flash. I like the Batman movie part that was in The Flash. And I like the emotional moments. So for me, the first hour of the movie is a 4. The last half of the movie for me is between a 7 and an 8. You can average that for what you want. But that's my honest opinion. I can't deny that I was entertained. I was entertained. And seeing Michael Keaton Batman on screen, not just seeing him back in the suit, but seeing him really full-on Batman with the stunt work and enhanced digitals, I thought was great. And the tech, the bat plane, it was amazing. The scenes with the plane, they really made it more. It's better than in the Tim Burton film, the first one. I really enjoyed it. So your mileage may vary. Make of that what you will. I think it's ultimately, if you just ask me, should I see it or not? I would recommend that you do see it. But it's a mixed review, mixed/positive. Alan, final thoughts?
Yeah, I would definitely say positive. Not the greatest film ever, but Andrew Muschietti can do a comic book movie, and it comes across. So
what? And the other thing, one last point. Andrew Muschietti is one of us. Mm-hmm. He is a nerd. Absolutely. The number of references, the Easter eggs, the call-outs, the fact that Ben Affleck Batman, the colors, he had the blue and gray that is directly out of the Frank Miller, The Dark Knight Returns comic. Chef's kiss. I love it. He is a guy that gets it. He's full-on comic nerd. He has the cred, the references, the fact that I'm sure he fought to get that stuff in there, to get the Nick Cage stuff. Like, this guy, like, he gets it. And so I only expect great things from him. And perhaps if he wasn't like in between the stupid, I blame the executives for the way this movie turned out, not Andrew Muschietti, the director. I blame the indecisive director. The executives are like, oh, should we do the Snyderverse or should we do this? And we don't know what to do. Maybe we have to do reshoots and we're going to do this and Aquaman. Screw those executives. Andrew Muschietti did his job. He's one of us. Not a perfect film, but I can't wait to see what he does next. And you
liked Batman in this, so
I like Batman in this. The tech, the Batcave, the this. It was Batman porn, and no disrespect to Axel Braun. Not everyone knows who Axel Braun is. Don't Google Axel Braun Batman. Google image that. Do not do that. Ms. P. Coffee, I see you typing. I would not do
one
that.
last super chat.
One last super chat. Right here. Oh, yes. And thank you to our mods today, Lord Thoth and Latino slant. Always thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks again. And thanks to Ms. P Coffee. Drew Skull for 5. Last one today anyway. Frank Gore and Sylvia Crystal in Emmanuel reboot. If you know, you know. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. In fact, they just released like Emmanuel movies in like this big boxed Blu-ray set. I am debating this.
You're debating.
All right.
I know what you mean. I get it. I know what you mean.
That wraps it up for us today. Thank you so much. Hail to the chat. Thank you so much. We're building an audience. We're getting, I think we're 78, 79. Where are we on the subs now? 78,000?
We are closing on 78, if not there already.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Alan wants us to get to 169,000. That's our goal. So thank you for that. I want to thank the audience for just hanging out with us. We appreciate you. Even if you disagree, this is a conversation. Everyone brings into it their personal biases. Some people have read the novel. For me, Dune. Some people haven't. Doesn't matter. We all have opinions. We all discuss it, and I appreciate it. And I want to say I appreciate Az from Heel versus Babyface. Subscribe to his channel if you've not subscribed. That guy is so entertaining, and I so appreciate his opinion, and also just a great human being. I could almost say the same thing about Alan.
Almost.
Alan, what do you have going this weekend?
Yeah, tonight I'm in San Diego at the National Comedy Theater. We're doing the regular PG-13 show at 7:30 and the dirty show, the unrated show at 9:30 or 9:45, I should say.
If you're going to perform during San Diego Comic-Con, we should all get tickets and go.
Yeah, I will work on that one.
Okay, cool.
But we're definitely going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year.
I am this weekend. I'm going to the Frida Cinema to see a Godzilla movie. There's a bunch of them playing. I'm not going to get to see them all, unfortunately, but I'll be at the Frida Cinema probably tonight at 8:00. I'll be going to see a Godzilla movie, and then I will also be seeing Asteroid City. Az, I can't believe you're still here. Thank you, Az.
Well, he's got a show to do in a few hours.
I'm nervous now that Az is watching my show. Hey, have a great time on FNT. I'll be watching. I never miss FNT. Love that show.
Yeah,
I'll probably be listening as I'm driving to the Frida Cinema. So thank you, Az. Great show. Thank you, everybody. Alan, anything else you have to say? Is there anything that you want to say? Wait, this is a special treat. Wait, a special treat. Did you know Alan got to go to, this is a true story. Alan got to go to the White House this weekend. And I'm just gonna show the video really quickly. Alan went to the White House. It was pretty incredible. You guys need to see it to believe it.